Good morning. It is the earliest that I'm pretty sure I've gotten on the water this entire trip. It is currently 6:32 in the morning and it's even later than I want it to be because we need to time the tide today because the current coming through this area is wicked. So, me out of Beaufort, new fixed pedals. Just gonna chug along today up to Morgan Island, and there's a fun bit of trivia, if you know Morgan Island near Beaufort, that I will share at the end of the video. But I also get to watch sunrise this morning. So continuing on about decision making, I think that going on a solo trip, I think is good for me, and I think anyone else that wants to learn about decision making really should try and take some kind of solo trip. It doesn't have to be a big adventure like this, but that it's important to learn how to make decisions on the fly when you don't have a team with you. I think that in the moment it sucks. You saw the footage from that. I was mad. I was so mad. I was so upset. I was tired and frustrated. But now, having reflected on the events of that day, I also am able to feel empowered by the decisions that I made and take charge of them. That most of them I stayed safe, but I think it was important to acknowledge that I made mistakes, but also I had successes and that I made it safe. So going on a solo trip allows you to have those kinds of times where it tests you, and you will emerge more confident. You will emerge more empowered. You will emerge more knowledgeable about how to handle adverse situations, and that it isn't great, but it's a learning opportunity. And I think that is an important thing to acknowledge, that going on a trip is a lot of fun. It absolutely is. I've been having the time of my life, but it's also a time for growth and a time for learning. At least I think it is. And also, we're making pretty good time. We only have, how far left? We have 12 miles and it's only 9 o'clock. And the tide switched. So we're gonna make really good time. And part of me wants to push all the way to Edisto and hang out on Edisto for a day. What do you guys think? Go hang out on Edisto? Go to the beach for a day? Beach day? What? Beach day? Blasphemy. Let's see where we get to. Because I do want to show you the island that we're going to go to. But we'll see where we end up at the time. So you know how I had done my little boat cleaning back on St. Simon's? Yeah, that didn't even scratch the surface because I was realizing I was just getting the sides and I wasn't getting underneath. And so now that I'm on this barrier island, which is right outside Morgan Island, which is where I'm going to be staying tonight, anchored up here, walked around, talked to some of the people, but then also it's a good time to do some scrubbing. And wow, this is gross. Let me show you some of the stuff I can find. See anything moving? All those little specks on the end of the sponge here are all tiny little organisms called skeleton shrimp. Totally harmless. They're as big as they get. They're great for maintaining ecosystems. But, man, they are all over the bottom side of my boat, as well as a bunch of other stuff. You know, like, there are some times that I have bad days. Like we've talked about in this video, that things don't go according to plan, things break, but you learn to deal with them. But that's not the things that you're necessarily gonna remember. Like, you're gonna remember, yeah, that was a bad day. But that's not a defining moment of the trip, unless you wanna think of it that way. You overcame challenging situations. But then there's other moments that I think are also just as defining, as well as just as important, that remind you of why you are doing what you're doing and the adventure that you're on. I mean, we can see here, I am anchored out behind Morgan Island here, and I told you all, and I'll show you. So that is Morgan Island. The tree's off in the distance there. I was gonna anchor out behind the island there, but the wind and the current didn't work out, that it was becoming unsafe for me, so I moved up to a more safer spot to anchor. But Morgan Island is actually an island that has a significant population of monkeys, which is pretty cool. So you cannot go onto the island. They are protected. I think they're research behavioral study. I don't know. If I find anything to that, I will link that down in the description. Yeah, like situations like this is amazing. I'm anchored out. There's a nice breeze, which is also keeping the bugs off. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's absolutely gorgeous. And this is why I'm doing this trip, is to go on and have these beautiful scenery. Like, it's not to have the bad times, like they're gonna happen, but it's balanced out by these good times. And I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for you all following along. I love your questions. I love your comments. Keep sending them in. Love to answer them all, but I also know that I can't answer them all, but I will do my best. I think I want to put one more day of travel on this video. And I think I'm going to end the video there. So tomorrow, we're going to Edisto Island, and haven't entirely figured out what we're going to be doing overnight-wise. Not sure if I'm going to be anchoring out or docking, and which dock I'm docking at, and where I'm anchoring, but we'll figure that out tomorrow. Then I'm going to end the video there, but not here. I still want to give you one more day of travel, but I want to show you this beautiful sunset though, because it's pretty great. Sorry to abruptly leaving you last night. I was about to show you me getting into my tent, and then I realized that I was moving. And when you think you're anchored and you're moving, that's not a good thing. Now, thankfully, I had moved, 10 feet, but I could tell my anchor was dragging. So I then turned off the camera, moved my tent, reset the anchor, and we're all good less than 5 minutes later. But yeah, sorry about that. But there was an absolutely gorgeous sunset, as you saw. And we were off again today, off to Edisto Island with some really good wind, and the tide is on our side. I'm sure of it this time. And we're going by Morgan Island here, which supposedly has a lot of monkeys on it. So we're gonna see if we can see some monkeys. Because where else in the United States can you go to a random island, sea monkeys. I mean, I'm sure there probably is another place, but like, it's here. Why not? So I think it's worth sharing as well that right now we are crossing the largest inlet, I think, by width of the entire trip. They were crossing from Hunting Island to Edisto Island, and I think it's like a 7-mile crossing. Now I'm not doing the full straight 7 miles, I'm kind of like cutting at an angle, but like it's pretty impressive, the like gap here that is ocean. But yeah, just want to point that out. Pretty cool. So far things have gone pretty well today. Crossing fingers. And it's gonna be a hot one today. It's gonna be like 90 today. So thankful for a breeze and some shade from the sail. It's gonna be hot. Also, I feel like it's worth pointing out that, yes, I said it's gonna be hot, but also it's like unusually hot. That most states along the south and the east over the next week are gonna be hitting record high temperatures. And so I think that is pretty indicative of some more extreme weather coming, and that's indicative of climate change, that we're gonna have hot days, but then also if you go out and we've got a heat wave here up in the Pacific Northwest, it's gonna be unseasonably cool. So that climate change is not just what's happening in your area, it's what's happening across the greater planet. And especially remember that if it's being unseasonably cold or unseasonably warm in your area, it's probably being the opposite somewhere else. So global warming, as the entire planet is warmed by 1.5 degrees Celsius, I think, by this point. I'll make sure I get the right number here. But also remember, that's 1 to 1.5 degrees Celsius, which is almost double that for Fahrenheit, which is what we have here in the United States. So we're talking 2 to 4 degrees Fahrenheit, and that's a lot. So just making that clear as well, that it's hot, it's unseasonably hot, and that this is only gonna be worse from here on out this summer, and also years to come across the country. So we've made it here to Edisto Island. Originally I was going to just stop in here for a little bit and then continue on for my day, but then through circumstances I actually get to dock here for free tonight. So a huge shout out to the whole team here at Edisto Marina. You guys are awesome in supporting this project, but I want to try and support you guys a little bit, so I'm gonna go ahead and get dinner tonight. But from here I'm then going to head up to the back side of the island tomorrow, and then from there up to Johnstown, and then to Charleston. And like, that's a super exciting stop for me, but super exciting. And like I said before, we've made it to the end of the day here, so I'm gonna end things here. Thank you all so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, go and give that thumbs up, as well as hit that subscribe button if you want to continue to see videos of me going up the United States East Coast from Miami to Norfolk, Virginia. So thank you all so much for watching. My name is Will, and this has been Climate Kayak and Conversation. I'll see you guys in the next video.